look, and I hope...
The Epstein story is about many things: justice, victims, power. But today it was also about Congress, rediscovering it has a purpose and a spine after 11 months of being ringside observers in Trump's circus of executive power.
Survivor-led.
The point was made on the steps of the Capitol by a lineup of survivors of Epstein's abuse. Their personal stories had become well known over time, but they needed Congress to convert their pain into power.
I would just like to give a little reminder that this was me at 14 years old. I was a child. I was in 9th grade. I was hopeful for life and what the future had held for me. He stole a lot from me.
I know everybody sees us today as grown adults, but we are fighting for the children that were abandoned and left behind in the reckoning. This is who you're fighting for. This is who Congress is fighting for. This is who the House of Representatives are fighting for, and hopefully the Senate will fight for us too.
Trump was not mentioned by name today. He was busy down the road at the White House, showing off his makeover of the West Wing to the visiting Saudi Crown Prince. But as Epstein's victims acknowledged, without the rebellion of a small number of Republicans against Trump, today's vote would not have taken place.
There's no place for intimidation, and I can say firsthand, stepping out against Epstein and his crimes against children, we have all experienced that ourselves. So for you to knowingly put yourselves at risk and put your career at risk is unbelievable to watch, and we are so grateful.
Over to Marjorie Taylor Greene, or Traitor Greene, as Trump now calls the Congresswoman who used to go into battle on his behalf.
This only became possible today because the American people, whom we serve as representatives here in Congress, demanded that this vote happen, and they put more pressure on every single elected politician in this city than has ever been put on them.
So even if Trump has nothing to fear from the Epstein files, has his previous opposition to releasing them broken the spell of his power? Congressman, do you expect any revenge from Donald Trump for what you've done?
No more than I've already experienced.
And has this weakened Donald Trump's hold over his own base, do you think, this whole thing?
Well, I think what he's doing this week is strengthening his position by coming on board.
Jeffrey Epstein's circle of trust was bipartisan. No shortage of prominent Democrats embarrassed by the latest leaks, including former Treasury Secretary and head of Harvard, Larry Summers. This is embarrassing for Democrats and Republicans, isn't it? But some of the names recently released have been, prominent Democrats,
and
like Larry Summers.
That's why it shows it's totally not partisan. I knew Larry Summers. I spoke to him 3 weeks ago. We've discussed economics, and it's sad to me that he was implicated. But it shows that this is not partisan. It doesn't matter if we knew people. It's about basic justice.
But basic justice may have a long way to go when the president gets so easily riled by the most obvious question.
Mr. President, why wait for Congress to release the Epstein files? Why not just do it now?
It's not the question that I mind, it's your attitude. Now, I just got a little report, and I put it in my pocket, of all the money that he's given to Democrats. He gave me none, zero, no money to me, but he gave money to Democrats. And people are wise to your hoax, and ABC's, your company, your crappy company, is one of the perpetrators. And I'll tell you something, I think the license should be taken away from ABC, because your news is so fake and it's so wrong.
Sound familiar? Perhaps Trump was showing off in front of his guest. One as a Saudi crown prince and one as an American president. They see eye to eye on so much, but only one of them has to put up with democracy and a free press. Well, over on Capitol Hill, the House has begun voting right now on that bill to release the Epstein files in full. Here's the scene in the chamber, and we will give you the full result when we have it, perhaps in a couple of minutes from now. Well, joining me now is David Frum, staff writer at The Atlantic and host of the David Frum Show podcast. David, good to have you back on the program. Are we seeing, both in Congress and with some awkward questions from the press, the humbling of Donald Trump this week?
No. What you're seeing on your screen right now is what the great American historian Daniel Boorstin called a pseudo-event. That is an event that doesn't actually happen in the real world, that exists entirely for and because of the camera. Look, the file, there are two sets of Epstein files, one in the hands of the Epstein estate, one in the hands of the Department of Justice. As that reporter who was so insulted by President Trump made clear, Donald Trump could release these files tomorrow. There's no need for a vote of Congress. He could do it. And in fact, not only could he do it, but in February, the Trump administration staged another pseudo event where Pam Bondi invited 15 right-wing influencers to the White House, gave them big binders labeled Epstein Files, Phase 1, and distributed them, and they held them up to the cameras as if to say, see, we've got the goods. The object here is delay and obfuscation and confusion. This whole event of creating a structure of a vote in the House of Representatives that may or may not be approved by the Senate, that may or may not get Donald Trump's signature, and even once he's signed it, he's created other reasons, internal legal reasons, not to release them. If he wanted them out, they'd be out. And he doesn't want them out for reasons that it's pretty easy to guess at, which is he finds them damaging. If it were true that the Epstein files were entirely about his Democratic opponents, Trump would illegally he'd release them if he had to break the law. But since it involved him, probably, he will keep them, even if he has to break the law.
Right. So you still think that he's got something to hide that he doesn't want us to see?
Well, I have no idea, of course. But given the ruthlessness with which the Trump administration presses informational advantage against opponents when they cover something up, it's not because they care about the fairness of the system. The Joe Biden administration did not release the files because there were ongoing prosecutions. Ghislaine Maxwell was still being tried, and because the Biden administration wanted to protect the integrity of the legal process, it would have damaged the case against Maxwell. So they didn't release them while her case was pending. Donald Trump would not have done that if he could have used them. Now, there are no more cases. There's no reason to hold this information back, but he's holding it back. He must have a reason, and it's not to be nice to people.
Right. And if they are released in full, is there any guarantee that what the public gets to see, what Congress gets to see, are actually all the full unredacted files?
I think I can guarantee you right now that they will not be the case. So Trump recently directed his attorney general to initiate investigations of some Democrats mentioned in the files. By the way, it should be said, it used to be in the United States completely unthinkable for the president to direct an attorney general to do anything like this. That back in the olden days, in the before times, that would have been unthinkable. But Trump does it all the time. He directed his attorney general to begin these investigations. That allows him to say of anything he doesn't want to release, well, there's an ongoing investigation that I initiated that involves that. So I have to hold back this box of documents, but all these other documents that will embarrass Larry Summers and other people I don't care about, we can release those. So now you're watching what used to be called in Watergate times a modified limited hangout, not a disclosure. And this event in the House of Representatives is a pseudo event that Donald Trump is allowing to proceed because he thinks he can still control it.
David Frum, thank you very much indeed.